Hello, this is Jessie Sage, and I am the sex columnist at the Pittsburgh City Paper. My column is called Pillow Talk with Jessie Sage, and right now I am going to be sharing with you my most recent column, which is called What Does It Mean to Be Good at Sex? All right. Some time ago, after a particularly intense and satisfying session with a regular client, we laid quietly under the covers, my head resting on his chest, his fingers running through my hair. He broke the silence first. "You're purring," he said. When I responded by telling him that he was amazing, he said, "I've never been that good before." The sincerity of his response made me giggle. He's in his 60s. I'm certainly not the first person he's had good sex with. His response was intended to make me laugh, and it did, but it also pointed to something profound. Being good at sex is not a matter of technique or physical prowess. It's a matter of connection, of being present with and for another person. He wasn't amazing in abstraction. It was the dynamic between the two of us that made that possible. In the 10 years that I've worked in the sex industry, I've had many men, and I'm not saying that women and gender nonconforming folks don't do this, but I haven't seen it, tell me in one way or another, with pride, that they are good at sex. They tell me they're good at sex in some misplaced attempt at masculine bravado before they know anything about me or my desires and interests, and before we've established our level of chemistry. They say it, in other words, like being good at sex is akin to being good at golf or playing the guitar, a skill you learn through practice that has an objective measure of success, a subpar score, or a well-played song. Being a good sexual partner isn't the same as being a good musician or athlete, though. To say that they're not the same is certainly not to say that sexual experience, skill, and technique don't matter. I'm no stranger to the horrors of objectively bad sex, or at least sex that's objectively bad to me. I've had clients try to jackhammer me in ways that I only imagine they learned from porn, move their positions or activities so quickly that it's impossible to feel any one sensation long enough to register it as pleasure, paw at me in very unsexy or uncomfortable ways, use their tongue sloppily, please, for the love of all things holy, do not plunge your tongue inside my ear canal, and shove their fingers inside of me with so little knowledge of what they're doing that they've given me a UTI. If you ever wonder why sex workers command such high rates, go back over this list, please. Certainly, these things can be improved upon with practice the same way that golfers improve their swing and musicians memorize chords so that they can move through them fluidly. Indeed, my job often involves a subtle retraining of bad habits or ineffective techniques, especially with younger and less experienced people. This is to be expected given the tragically bad sex education in our country. Sex workers often serve this role in our culture, whether we collectively recognize it or not. Yet the things that can make these techniques better often have much more to do with soft skills, not hard ones, and that pun is intended. What makes all of these examples objectively bad is that I don't like them. Indeed, there's no such thing as objectivity when it comes to sex. To this end, what makes someone a good sexual partner to me is their willingness to recognize what I am not enjoying and connecting with when they're doing it and adjusting accordingly. What makes the experience good is their interest in listening to my verbal and nonverbal attempts at redirection and responding with curiosity about what we can enjoy together. If there are any skills here, they aren't necessarily the proper angle for the perfect finger bang session, though if you want to know what it is, I can tell you. They are empathy, active listening, and openness. Sex is too diverse for a claim as broad as being good at sex to be meaningful. Since I've written my last Pillow Talk column, I've had sessions that have all looked radically different. One with a loving couple who was having their first ever threesome, one with a fetishist who wanted to suck my toes, one with a person who had tremendous social anxiety, one with a regular who wanted to engage as if we were in the middle of a torrid love affair, and one with an older gentleman who craved touch. No singular technique would have given all of these people what they were looking for. I hope that I was able to give them what they wanted and needed, and that they left thinking, man, that was good. But I'm not arrogant enough to think that what I have to offer is good on the face of it. If someone came in wanting to be elaborately tied, they would have to turn to people that I interviewed for my recent City Paper cover story on Shibari. What made all of these experiences good was the openness that we entered the sessions with and the desire to give and receive pleasure in a way that felt good to the other person. These are the most important things and the basis upon which everything else can be learned. Perhaps I did make that client in his 60s feel better than he's ever been, but that's not because I'm good at sex. We both had the kind of experience that we wanted because we showed up for each other, we were present, we wanted to connect, and we cared about the pleasure and the needs of the other person. We can all be that good at sex. It just requires that we open ourselves up to our partners with vulnerability and care. Everything else is just details.